Welcome, Planning Commission members, staff, and guests. Multiple staff members are here today to ensure that the meeting runs smoothly and all applicants and members of the public are able to participate in the meeting at the appropriate times.
If you're here today to speak about a case, please provide your name clearly into the microphone, and please be sure to sign in either at the back of the room or at the podium for documentation purposes. If you're here today to speak about a case, you must speak up when the chairperson calls for public comment. I'll go ahead and call the roll. Mr. Brabham? Mr. Causey? Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Foster?
Here.
Mr. Holcomb? And Mr. Osorio?
Here.
We have quorum.
We'll start off with a brief review of the meeting format. Applicants with requests before the Planning Commission are allotted a presentation time of 10 minutes. This time should include, but is not limited to, an overview of the project, case history, and any pertinent meetings held regarding the request. This time also includes all persons presenting information on behalf of the applicant, such as attorneys, engineers, and architects. This time limit does not include any questions asked by the Planning Commission or staff regarding requests. During the public comment period, members of the general public are given the opportunity to address their concerns in intervals of 2 minutes. After the public comment period, applicants have 5 minutes to respond. It's fine. The administrator has a timer and will make presenters aware of when their time has expired. The Planning Commission reserves the right to amend these procedures on a case-by-case basis. Are there any changes to the agenda?
We did have one change since publication. Case number 6 under preliminary plat review, which is SPLAT-2025-0080, has been deferred. Other than that, the agenda stands.
The Planning Commission uses the consent agenda to approve non-controversial or routine matters by a single motion and vote. Examples of such items include approval of site plans, annexations, and street names. If a member of the Planning Commission or the general public wants to discuss an item on the consent agenda, you must speak up after the consent agenda is read. Then that item is removed from the consent agenda and considered during the meeting. The Planning Commission then approves the remaining consent agenda items. Will staff please read the consent agenda?
Certainly. Thanks. The first item on the consent agenda is to approve the December 11th, 2025 minutes. The second item is under future land use amendment and zoning amendment for a pending annexation, Annex-2025-0024, 700 Jacobs Mill Pond Road. Request recommendation on the assignment of the land use classification of Urban Edge Mixed Residential, UEMR, and the assignment of zoning of planned development for a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as neighborhood medium density and zoned planned development by Richland County. The third item on the consent agenda is Annex-2025-0025, rear 142, 150, 156, next to 156, 160, and the north side of Jacobs Mill Pond Road. Request recommendation on the assignment of the land use classification of Urban Edge Residential Small Lot, UER1, and the assignment of zoning of planned development for a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as neighborhood medium density and zoned residential transition by Richland County. And the fourth item on consent is under planned development site plan review, S-Plan-2025-0021, 225 and 227 Harbison Boulevard. Request major site plan approval to construct a restaurant, the Panda Express. The property is zoned PD, Planned Development, Harbison. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Is there anyone from the Planning Commission or the public that would like any item removed from the consent agenda? Do I have a motion and second to accept the consent agenda subject to all conditions contained in the case summaries as well as the December 11, 2025 minutes?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve December 11th, 2025 minutes, along with the consent agenda, subject to all conditions contained in the case summaries.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approved. The Planning Commission will now move forward with those items on the regular agenda. We will use the following outline for regular agenda items. The administrator will introduce the case. The applicant will have 10 minutes to make a presentation. Planning Commission may ask questions. The public comment period will be open to those present. The public comment period will be closed. The applicant will have 5 minutes to respond to the public comments. Planning Commission may ask additional questions of the applicant. Deliberation and action by Planning Commission.
Good afternoon. So the first item on the regular agenda is a text amendment, and this is a text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance regarding owner-occupied short-term rentals. And you all may recall that in November there was an item regarding short-term rentals before this body. Since that time, council did pass that amendment, and it took effect on January 6th. And however, on review of that amendment, which is Ordinance 2025-107, council expressed their desire to exempt owner-occupied short-term rentals from the standards that would otherwise require a short-term rental in a residential district to be on a street containing 4 lanes and being classified as a arterial or collector street. And so the purpose of this amendment that's before you today is exactly that. It is to provide an exemption within residential districts to short-term rentals that are owner-occupied dwelling units. And so if this is passed, an owner-occupied dwelling unit may be located in a residential district may be used as a short-term rental. And the standard to determine whether or not it is owner-occupied is the same standard that is already in Chapter 5 of City Code, which is the determination of it being owner-occupied by the county assessor and qualifying for that 4% special assessment ratio. And so again, I'll note that the item before council today is exactly that. It's the amendments that establish that exemption for owner-occupied dwelling units to be short-term rentals, and also the definition of owner-occupied. And then just as a reminder that, the performance standards for short-term rentals do remain in Chapter 5, and they are enforced by code enforcement. The Unified Development Ordinance regulates the location of the short-term rentals, but that's the extent of the zoning involvement. Otherwise, the short-term rental licensing program remains intact.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I think, is it, to get that special assessment ratio, does that count for duplexes and quads? So if you lived in a quadruplex, you could rent the other 3 out as Airbnb or short-term rentals?
So my understanding is, for example, a duplex, if an owner occupies one half of the duplex, they qualify for that exemption for one half of that duplex. They do not qualify for it for the entirety.
So how,
Because that is a separate dwelling unit.
so this would only cover if somebody was renting out a room in their house or maybe an ADU?
Correct. Or, for example, let's say they're on vacation and they wish to rent it out. I believe State law allows you to rent out your home for up to 72 days a year and to maintain that exemption. They also, they very explicitly state that you can rent out rooms in your home and still maintain that exemption. But if you rent it for more than 72 days a year, then you lose that 4% exemption.
So the way this is written, it would not apply to duplexes, for example, since you can't get the special assessment on the non-occupied unit?
That would be correct. So although it would apply to the portion you live in, and nothing does stop someone from renting out the units, long-term for periods of more than 30 days.
But not for a short term?
But for short-term, right.
Thank you.
I guess just as clarification on that example, they'd be able to rent out the duplex, the part that they're occupying, but, rent out a short-term rental, but they wouldn't be able to short-term rental the other part that they're not occupying, right? Is that how I understand it?
Right. Now that said, if, state law and the assessor calls the whole thing owner occupied, then so be it. But that is my understanding of how that 4% is applied.
Okay.
Do you know how they determine if something's like, say, an ADU or a duplex? Like, where is the line drawn where it's no longer accessory, right?
Sure. In our UDO, an ADU is, it has to meet certain criteria. And one of the things is that it not exceed 50% of the square footage of the main dwelling unit. It has to share the same address, have the same power, et cetera. There's a significant difference, yeah.
Thanks. I was just wondering if it would get murky in the interpretation, but.
Mr. Chair, do you want to see if there's anybody in the audience that wants to?
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience here today? Do any of my fellow commissioners have any other additional questions?
So not seeing any of the short-term rental folks here that were here, I guess, a month or two ago, was this done to satisfy some of their concerns? And does it?
Yes, at public hearing, this was one of the items. It certainly wasn't the only item, but it was one of the items that was brought up by the short-term rental community, and council did discuss this. And so staff was directed to introduce an amendment for this purpose.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Got an additional question. This only applies to homes located in residential districts, right? There's exception.
Right, because otherwise, if a short-term rental is in a mixed-use district or a commercial district or our EC district, it would be permitted whether it was a dwelling unit or yeah, et cetera.
Makes sense.
Andrew, did I see in the graphic that came up that short-term rentals still have to be located on these larger highways? Is that correct? Is that what I'm reading?
For
Top left?
So basically, the red text is where it says an owner-occupied short-term rental is exempt from the standards that are otherwise in that paragraph. So any other short-term rental, so one that is not owner-occupied would still be subject to those standards. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions or comments? All right, if no other comments, I think we can go ahead and entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion that we approve the zoning text amendment TA-2025-0016 as it meets the decision standards outlined in the Unified Development Ordinance.
Motion has been properly made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Item has passed.
So we just have a couple of items in other business. We have officer elections. So I know Madeline has been corresponding with you guys about nominations for chair and vice chair. So I guess first we'll just we have Mr. Cohn and Mr. Osorio have been nominated for chair. So let's see, do we have something or do you want me to just give them paper? Oh, y'all have already, okay. Oh, sure, perfect, okay.
There'll be
So,
comments going
this
to
is
be
for chair.
long one day.
I guess they did both of them. All right, folks, no big upsets today. Mr. Cohn is going to remain chair. Mr. Osorio is going to remain vice chair. So thank you very much for being here. Also, I just wanted to introduce, he's not here, he couldn't join us today, but we do have a new director for our department. Justin Steinman has joined us. He wasn't able to make planning commission today, but he will be here next month, so y'all get to meet him too. So we're real happy to have him on board. And that's it. Unless, do you have anything else? Anybody? All right.
As there is no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.